Hey everyone, this is Mr. Anderson, and I saw that somebody had a question on ICP for today in the Discord chat. I do have a spot bag in ICP, and I haven't touched that. And I did join the leveraged premium trade that was given out earlier this week, or maybe last week, for ICP. But I did stop myself out of it, and that was due to the GDP numbers, and I didn't really execute that very well, but there seemed to be a lot of uncertainty in the market. It was more of a emotional sell than anything else, but we're actually back at the price that I sold, so I don't feel too awful about it. Now, the first thing that I like to do is look at the daily structure or the structure on the daily chart. And as you can see, we are in this ascending parallel channel. And for the most part, we have respected it to the upside and to the downside. We did have a breakout that failed. And we ended up having a breakout to the downside, another one up to the upside, and now back down to the downside. So I do have the price points for the premium trade that I put on here, and this is just something that maybe you want to do just so you're aware. And you can put alarms to let you know where price is if you're busy doing something throughout the day, and your phone can let you know, hey, we're punching through either a price target or a resistance level or support level or whatever. So the buy was this yellow dash line, which is at $15. Obviously, it didn't go well. It went down to the downside, and now we're testing the lower support of this channel, and we punched through it. This green dash line, or these two green dash lines, are the second and third entry point. This is a stop loss, this dull red line. And then this is my liquidation point on BitUnex. So this is not really a great situation. We can look at the oscillators here really quick. And we do have these oscillators basically descending, which is not great. We have a lower high, and we are below 50 on both the MFI and the RSI, so we're starting to get a little bit oversold again, but it's not great that we couldn't get into the overbought area on the daily. And as you can see, we definitely had a weak momentum to the upside. We only had 4 green bars to the green side, and basically we have what I guess could be called an MACD-FU, where we should be getting momentum back to the upside, and it failed to do so. And again, that was because of that macroeconomic news. As far as market cipher, this is the Walmart version, so it's not as good as the I think the $3,000 version that you can buy, but I think it's still valuable and it still works. As you can see, if you look at this chart, there's not a lot of indecision. There's a lot of momentum to the downside back in June of 2022, and that continued, try to punch up to the upside in August, and then it failed again. A lot of money flow in early February of 23, and then we had a lot of indecision between March and October of 2023, and then we had the alt bull run that started in October. And now we're back in the area of indecision from when I'm looking at the chart. Now, the one good thing is we are getting a pre-momentum wave that could lead to a trigger wave if we get if that trigger wave actually is produced here, but it doesn't look like there's a lot of momentum right now on the daily. If we look at the 4-hour, we can get a little more detail, and we have a formation or a pattern being created by the auto charts. And again, this is something that I just like to use. It is not the end all be all, but it's kind of something that can draw your attention as to the potential energy of the price and where it wants to go. It's not a coincidence that it is forming a double bottom right at the lower end of this parallel channel along with a falling wedge. So I think that is a good sign when it comes to the oscillators, the money flow just is not there, nor is the momentum. The momentum is still showing to the downside, even though we are getting a change in direction on the stochastics, and potentially, eventually, we may get a change down here on the MACD. And then the market cipher is just trash when it comes to the 4 hour. Looking at the 1 hour, I like to add the Tom DeMark. I like to use the exponential moving average. This SD boring right here gives you your demand and sell levels. So I think it's a very interesting indicator, and it's very helpful when you're looking for demand or supply and demand zones. And we'll go ahead and add, let's see, oh, the Ichimoku. All right. So the one thing that is against this is, as far as a long, is that we are underneath the Ichimoku cloud. However, the lagging span is entering the price action. So there is potential for a reversal if we can reject off this lower end of the parallel channel, and if these formations or these patterns actually have any potential energy to the upside. And so that is a good sign. But again, the oscillators just aren't there right now, at least not on the 1 hour. The other thing that we can do is look at the, and I generally like to look at the trend on the daily to place my Fibonacci chart. I think it's just easier to see. There's less clutter. Your chart can end up being really, really cluttered. And if you want to figure out where to place your fib chart, I use the Williams fractal indicator. So we'll just pull up our fib chart. This is where the trend starts on the daily, and bringing up to the top here using that green triangle. And we are bouncing perfectly off the golden pocket between 0.65 and 0.618. So I think that's another thing in our favor here. If we can get a change in momentum, at least on the daily, I think that's a very powerful indicator right there. And that's something to consider. We go down to our 1 hour, you can get a better idea of what's going on here. So it's not coincidence that we're rejecting off the lower end of this parallel channel and off the golden pocket. So I think there's potential here for eventually getting into a long position. And I may do that, and I may do that above the price that I sold it at. But like CC said, it's better to get confirmation, and I think we need to get through this cloud first before we can get confirmation that there is a change in direction for this market when it comes to CCP, or I'm sorry, for ICP. Now, the other thing that I like to do when I'm doing scalp trades, I'll get rid of all the chart patterns. We can leave the TRP. I like to leave the exponential moving averages. And as far as the exponential moving averages, I like to use the 50 and the 200 day exponential moving average, which I think is, yeah. So in conjunction with the market cipher indicator, and this is the Fu Manchu indicator. And I think this is kind of a lesson learned here. And you can use it on the 30-minute. So this is how I would conduct a scalping trade. We started off with a positive trend with the 50-day over the 200. And then we had a cross, and now the trend is negative. So what I would do is I would wait until price action retested into the 50-day moving average, rejecting off the 200. And at the same time, I want my money flow to be in the red with a red dot on the market cipher indicator, and this is where I would take my trade. So we got a positive rejection to the downside. We are in the red in the money flow. So at the end of this candle is where I would do my trade. And then I would have basically the peak here as my stop loss. I would enter here about $13.78. And I would go with you could do a 1-to-1 ratio, but you could probably do a 1.5 risk to reward ratio, something like that. And it perfectly, I mean, look at that. I could have taken a trade here. Now this was at 6 o'clock yesterday, Eastern Standard Time. But this was a perfect risk to reward ratio of about 1.5, barely, yep, right there. So that's how I like to do my scalp trades if I see something good. Again, there's a probability that we retest, and if money flow is still in the red and we get a momentum wave signal to the downside. Now the other thing is that this needs to be on the upper side of this indicator. You don't want to take one down here. That's more risk, even though in this situation this would have been another positive short position. So if you have any questions on any other charts, I'm doing this to improve my YouTube skills. I'm just starting a channel, and it's mostly going to be about fundamentals, but I'm more than willing to do chart analysis and discuss anything else you guys like to discuss. All right, thanks. Bye.